Hey everybody, this is VG Logic, and on this episode of Played This, we're going to be having a look at Beyblade on the PlayStation. And all I can say right now is if you've played this before, you know exactly where this video is going to go. For the uninitiated, Beyblade is a manga and anime series about people battling each other with spinning tops called, well, Beyblades. It may sound stupid, but it's surprisingly watchable. The show was popular enough to very quickly promote its own line of Beyblade toys, and it's not difficult to see why. In the show, some Beyblades have something called a bit beast that lives inside them, and these let the Beyblades do different attacks. Now obviously that can't happen in the toys, but the rest certainly can. But let's cut back to the PlayStation game. This one's just called Beyblade on the spine of the box, but it's known just as commonly as Beyblade Let It Rip, probably to prevent mixing it up with later games. Now I'm no game developer, but I'd say there's plenty to work with here for a few video game adaptations, so without further ado, let's dive in. Well, for starters, the intro cutscene is great. I mean, there's explosions, big duels, characters from the anime. If the game goes anywhere to emulating this, I'll be happy. Okay, well that's fine, there's no tutorial option, I guess we'll just go into a tournament. Okay, I guess we just press X when this bar goes up, good guess, great launch, excellent. And what the fuck am I looking at? Where did this dinner plate come from and why are we fighting on it? It's tiny! The cutscene didn't look like this, they had a stadium full of people watching. They're not watching us do this, that's for sure. This isn't a training stage or something either, this is your fighting arena. No, actually, let me rephrase that. This is the fighting arena. This grey child's potty with holes cut out of it, or maybe it looks like a training seat for a toilet. Either way, it's awful. This is the only arena in the game. There's no variation, no change in colour. It looks fucking awful. I mean, what the hell went on here? Look at it. There's 6 colours. There's like 6 colours, literally, and 3 of them are shades of grey. You know they really messed up when even the toys look better than the one in the game. But believe it or not, we're just getting started. Now I could bemoan the visuals for a lot longer. I mean, seriously, this to this, but graphics aside, the gameplay manages to be just as bad. The idea in the tournament is to beat 7 characters in a row. The first 3 are always generic, Blader A, B and C, and then you can battle some characters from the anime. If you lose just one match, you go back to the beginning. So, how do you win a match? Well, there's a few ways. I mean, I find most of my games end up with my opponent just losing control and flying out of the stadium. Another way is you can break your opponent's Beyblade, I think, although considering how massive their health pools are and how little damage really gets done in each match, I'm not sure it's really possible. The other win condition is an odd one. I mean, sometimes a Beyblade just runs out of spin. They do eventually as the game goes on, and what tends to happen is one just gets a bit too slow and unceremoniously slumps into the middle of the arena. But the silly thing is, it's quite hard to fight to the bitter end like this. And if you're the last man standing here after an epic battle, well, epic, yeah, you don't actually get as many points as if you pushed your opponent out of the arena or if they just suicided. So really the long and short of it is, you get penalised for having a proper fight. Good job! Between opponents you can repair your Beyblade as it does have an HP bar, but doing it causes a performance drop, so sometimes it's not really a great deal all things considered. If you're on a good run, it's quite possible to get all the way to the end with just one Beyblade, maybe only needing a repair at the last battle. As for the controls, they're fairly simple. Like I said earlier on, you hit X at the launch screen when the bar's almost full. That gives your Beyblade more spin power. And then the left stick is for your movement, and honestly it's quite difficult to control. You will be throwing yourself out of the arena a few times just while you're getting used to it. It's kind of weird as well. I mean, sometimes the controls feel far too sensitive, and sometimes not responsive at all. You wanna know what would mitigate that? Well, a bigger fucking arena would help. Most fights are over in seconds, and oftentimes you're just hoping your opponent loses control and gives you an easy win. It just shouldn't be like that. When the core element of your game is a chore, you know you screwed up. Every time you win a battle you get 10 Babe points, and if you lose you get 5, and these points can be spent in the shop. Let's take a look. Actually, before we go there, I have a question for you. Now, who's betting that they screw this up too? Well, if you guessed yes, then you'd be right. The shop is a mess, and to my surprise it's actually kinda complicated. Now look, this game has not demonstrated enough complexity to confuse me. Now give me a game like Gran Turismo and there I understand. In that game I'm assembling a car. In this game, I'm assembling a spinning top. You basically need 6 components to put a Beyblade together, but they're all laid out in such a wonderfully unintuitive way, and to top it off, things are abbreviated too because that's really helpful. So by the game's admission, I need a part out of the following sections: bit, Attica, woot, gear, base, and last but not least, I need a liture. Oh, and stuff isn't cheap either. If you want to buy the cheapest part from each section, I've added it up, it's 580 points, and that's 58 wins at least. You can earn more points for progressing further into the tournament, but any way you cut it, it's going to take a very long time before you're able to complete your very own new Beyblade. To top it off, the game doesn't explain anything. I mean, the descriptions for the items are useless. This weight disc, for example, is called an 8 balance. Oh, goody, I've always wanted one of those. Please, just explain something to me. Have some information displayed. What does that do? Why do I want an 8 balance or a left spin gear with a metal ball? What does that do to my Beyblade? Does it bring any strategy to the matches? Is there strategy in this game at all? Does it change my playstyles? Hell, are there playstyles either? There's so many questions, and these are questions the game should be answering, but no, instead I'm crawling around digging through decade-old game FAQ pages online. Now at this point you may be asking, would you even want to know? But this is the thing, yeah, I kinda would. I actually quite like games where you grind for stats, but this game treats you like an outsider, like there's actually quite a lot to it and there's a lot of knowledge and a meta that could be explored, just not for you. The manual isn't much help either, I've got it, and it's written in the same jargon as the in-game menus. I mean, there's no context, and after reading up far more than the average player would, I now know there's some Beyblades that are geared towards attack, defense, and endurance. How do those equate in-game? I don't have a clue. Oh, but wait, there's actually more. I'm convinced this game deliberately tries to hide things from you as the player. Did you know you gain experience and level up in this game? You aren't told when you level up, of course. I mean, that's just hidden in a stat screen somewhere. This actually baffles me, maybe more than anything else in the game. Every game I can think of where there is leveling up, I'm thinking of Final Fantasies, but even games like Call of Duty, every game where you level up, it is an event, it changes something, the game informs you. It's one of those ways that the game can just tell you you've progressed, you've improved, you've got stronger, this has happened. But for a game not to even mention it at all, I just can't explain how wrong that is. Another thing that's hidden, and this is a fairly big thing actually, is how you use your bit beast. Under your spin meter there's a small bar that's just labelled LP, that's legend points by the way, and you need these to use your bit beast in battle. You get points by pushing X when you collide with your opponent, and it's pretty hit and miss if you get points in my experience. You want to know what would make it better? A visual cue would be nice, a sound cue would be okay, but anything. But no. This game doesn't tell you at all, you just have to glance at the number every now and then to see if it goes up. You get 25 and you can let off a pretty underwhelming special move. It does seem to be offensively useless, so I only use it when I'm about to fall off the stage, as it does put you back nearer the middle. As far as strategy goes in this game, that's about as in-depth as it got. Now I could go on and moan about several other things, but I won't. You get the idea. Beyblade, or Beyblade Let It Rip, comes across as unabashedly lazy, empty, and unfinished. The fact that they would have charged full price for this at some point, and that it was aimed at young kids who were fans of the series, is just flat out nasty, and it's a strong contender for one of the worst games I've played on the PlayStation so far. I really did give this one a good try. For the few seconds of gameplay offered in each battle, I played this monstrosity for 7 hours or more, and I was really just trying desperately to make things work. I mean, I went online, I searched guides, I looked up Beyblade designs, but there really is no saving this one. If you're really interested, do yourself a favour and watch the anime instead. And that's that. That's Beyblade Let It Rip. I think next time we're going to do a much better game. But that about wraps it up here for this episode of Played This. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time.